To me, the stars in this place look like glowing balls of light. They were three-dimensional, and I could actually reach out and touch them. Imagine these big glowing balls that were warm to the touch, but they weren't hot, and I felt like a kid on Christmas morning. Multiply it by infinity. It was like, yes, it's so cool. I want to do this forever. It was so, I just wanted to play and have fun. And I was throwing these little balls of light all over the place, and they were bouncing off the valley below me and off the mountains on the other side, and just bouncing everywhere. And I remember the thought crossing my mind, I wish I was out there where they were. I wish I could be out there. And the next thing I know, I was outside of Earth the very first time. And
if you had a magic wand and you could go back in time, is there anything that you would change about your life?
Not one thing. Because everything that I've been through, good, bad, or indifferent, has combined to create the person I am now. If I like the person I am now, then I have to be thankful for everything that led to this point. I wouldn't change a single thing.
This time on Beyond Numerology, we're continuing our very interesting private conversation with Andrew Bauer. This is part 2, so if you haven't watched or listened to part 1 yet, go ahead and do that first, and then come back here because I know you'll want to hear more. In this episode, we go beyond the moments of his near-death experiences and into what actually happened on the other side, where he went, what he experienced, what he learned, and how time, reality, and even existence itself felt completely different there. We talk about what he was shown, what he was taught, and the kind of understanding he brought back with him that's still unfolding now. This is the part of the story that really makes you stop and think about what's actually happening beyond what we can see. So let's get into part 2. Welcome to Beyond Numerology. I'm Tammy Lopresti, the creator of Cosmic Ascended Numerology, a rare and super accurate way of decoding who you are and why you're here. If you're new around here, I'm so glad you found us. And if you've been in my world for a while, then you already know that I don't do numerology like everyone else. Think of this podcast as your weekly spiritual hangout. A place where we dive into your soul's plan, uncover what you came here to learn, understand, and experience, and help you wake back up to the you that you came here to be. Every Friday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we record new episodes on Zoom and invite a live audience to hang out with us. This is your chance to be in the room while we chat with our guest of the week, do mini numerology readings, and enjoy occasional psychic insights from our guests. Whether it's card pulls, spirit guide messages, messages from loved ones on the other side, or other surprises that they might bring. Want the VIP experience? Stick around for the after show where you can hang out with me and the guest of the week to answer your own questions and get a behind-the-scenes look at the magic happening live. It's always fresh, always different, and always a good time. So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, welcome. I'm so happy you're here, and I have a feeling you're going to love it. Now let's go beyond numerology, because your soul's plan starts right now. Hi everyone, I am here today with Andrew Bauer. When you were 7 years old, okay, you're out of your body, you're in the room, you see the doctors and nurses working on you. Okay, what happens next?
Okay, so like I said, I heard my guide's voice when I was starting to panic, and his voice was very calming, and basically he communicated to me that you are dying, but you're okay, which I thought was a strange way of putting it at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, how am I okay and dead at the same time? It doesn't make sense. But he said, you're in a place where you cannot be hurt anymore. And he said you don't feel pain, you don't, uh, but you'll be okay. You don't have to worry. And it's just the way he said it and this voice, the combination really just calmed me down. to the point where I could okay, I could start to notice details again. Where
Yeah,
when I'm in panic mode, it's like I have that tunnel vision,
of course.
and
Yeah.
so I started to notice things again, and eventually what he said was, you there are things that we need to show you, and he said you need to come with us. And as soon as he said you need to come with us, I felt my ethereal form or whatever you want to call it go through the ceiling, through the roof, and I mean I could literally see it going by me,
Mhm.
like little like the pieces of wood and stone and whatever. I was like going through them like someone phasing through them,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
came out of the top of the hospital,
Hmm.
and the next thing I knew, I was in this thing that felt like a room. I was laying on what felt like and looked like a bed,
Hmm.
and around me, all the walls, the ceiling, the floor, everything was made out of energy, and it was this bluish green color.
Hmm.
Um, I like if you've seen the modern version of the like Tron remake, it looked like the light cycle energy, like the kind of malleable
Hmm.
where it could move and bend and
Hmm.
shape itself.
Yeah.
And what I found out later is that everything on the other side is potential energy in its natural form.
Hmm.
And so what it does is it basically just waits for any being to whatever that being happens to need in that moment, whether it wants to create this little pocket universe to be in, or a
Hmm.
room to acclimate in, or a life review pod, whatever you need, this energy creates instantaneously. Like, in other words, it's linked directly to our telepathic ability to control it.
So it shapes into whatever you think about.
Whatever we need at that, yeah, whatever you think about or you envision or you need,
Okay.
it responds automatically.
Okay.
So if you need a room, you got a room. If
So
you
it's
need if you
instantaneous.
want, hey, I
Yeah.
like this toy I
Okay.
had as a kid, boom, you got the toy,
Okay.
and it's
Cool.
automatic. There's
Cool.
no like, oh, it's forming, there it comes. So
It's
no,
not
boom,
like the
it's
human
right here.
delay. Yeah.
No, there's no
Okay.
delay with anything.
Okay.
So telepathic communication is the way everything's done there.
Okay.
That's automatic. Moving from place to place is instantaneous. There's no distance crossed. There's no time delay. This is why we have to come here,
Hmm.
because on the other side, everything is easy and instantaneous. You don't have to work for anything. There's
Hmm.
no obstacles. There's no challenges.
Yeah.
And evolution only happens in reaction to challenges and obstacles and uh, things getting in your way, basically.
Hmm.
Evolution can only happen here.
Hmm.
As a being, we can only do it here. That's why we have to keep coming back and forth. The other side is for us to kind of evaluate what we went through, um, decide, how well did I follow the path that I set out? What do I want to do in my next life? Do I want to do this better? Do I want to do that better? It's all about, figuring, like, kind of just rehashing what you did and then figuring out what you want to do next.
Okay.
You
Okay.
have this overall plan for your entire lifetime, not your individual lifetime. So
Yeah.
the overall
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah. The
And so
lifetime
each
of
one
your
is a
soul.
piece of that.
Yeah.
And so you're deciding, okay, what's the next piece that I want to do? Like, what do I need to do in this lifetime to accomplish this particular task?
Is there anybody that you found that controls this plan?
Well, I don't know about controlling it.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, obviously, the being, if you want to call it God or Source,
Hmm.
knows what all of it. We all have free will. We're imbued with it, just the same as we're imbued with love.
Hmm.
And the reason is because even this being will not interfere with that.
Hmm.
And so there's no being on the other side, God or otherwise, who will ever interfere with your choices as a
So
being.
is free will across all of our existence, or is free
Yes.
will okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's on the other side and this
it's
side.
not
Doesn't
just
matter.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
So
always have
we have
free
free
will.
will automatically, and
Okay.
no being, because if you think about it, if you didn't, if a being was able to choose for you what was going to happen, is your will free,
No,
or is your will their will?
of course. Yeah.
So in order to have real free will, it has to be completely within your control.
I think
But
that that
this,
is a common misconception,
yes,
that there is something controlling us or holding us here or imprisoning us or any of that.
yeah,
Um,
this is not a prison at all.
I I knew instantly when I went into my NDE that I was the only one making any of these decisions and that I was the one that got to make any decisions further forever. Like I was the only one in control of the decision at all. That's what I
Yeah,
learned. So
yeah, it's
anyway,
like this, but
yeah.
this being has a level as, you know, I don't know, I can't speak to how exactly this being works, like where it came from,
Hmm.
um, how it knows what it knows. All I know is that it's like the factual thing you were talking about earlier. Like I just want to know that something's happening, not why.
Hmm. Exactly.
Same idea,
Yeah.
where God, source, whatever you want to call it, this being knows all the choices that we've ever made, are making, or ever will make. Because on the other side, what you start to realize is the way we think about time, space, and a lot of other things is very much wrong.
Hmm.
It's very wrong.
Yeah.
Like time and space are not linear. You do not have to start from one point. Like if I want to get from this room to the next room, I got to start here, walk through the space between, end up in that place.
Yeah.
Time is the same way. You have to start from the past, work through the present, get to the
Hmm.
future.
Yeah.
It works the same way. But
Yeah.
on the other side, you realize that all this is happening at the same time.
Hmm.
If you think of time and space as a really long piece of string,
Hmm.
where the past and where you were is to your left, the present where you are is in front of you, and the future or where you will be is to your right. That's
Hmm.
how we think of time and
That's how
space
we're
here.
taught. Yes.
Yeah. But on the other side, if you use this analogy, take that big string and crumple it up into a really big ball where every single point on it touches every other point on it.
Mm.
So every point in the future, present, or past is all connected to each other. You can jump from one to the other with a
Mm.
simple focus change.
I
It's
love
all it
that.
takes.
Yeah, I've not heard it explained that way. I explain it as time we're taught time starts here and ends here and all these things happen, along the way. What I was shown was time is actually like this. It's more like stacked and
Yeah,
it's separated into dimensions of space and we're
but
always
they're all
going
happening.
in
They're
and
all in the same place and happening at the
yes.
same
They're
time.
all happening at once and there is no past, there is no future. There is only the present, and that's why you only have control right here. And but they were saying like this is what my spirit guides have tried to explain to me. You're always moving in and out of different dimensions or different frequencies as
Hmm.
you're existing. You're always going up, up higher or lower depending on what you're doing.
We experience time and space linearly because
Yeah,
that's how the physical universe works. But on the other side, we understand that that's a misconception, that
yeah,
it's not
that's
actually that way.
yeah.
But we do that on this side because it's easier for us to understand and conceive of.
It's how our brain processes
Yeah,
things. So we're on the other side now. We're in this room that's blue green, right?
yeah. Blue
Um,
green energy, and I can see my guide now.
okay. And oh, okay, so he's standing in front of you now. Okay.
Yeah, like he's standing on my left, and then there are two beings with him who are both human. And
Okay.
I found out later that uh, there are beings who, when they want to learn to be guides, it's like the apprenticeship I mentioned with the bank thing,
Hmm.
where they will apprentice with an experienced guide, not so much to teach them what to do, but how to do it. So I never heard them speak. They never said anything to me. Never really interacted with me other than just smile or nod their heads or whatever that.
They're just
But they
part of
didn't
the
really
spirit
interact.
team to help you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens next?
During the first near-death experience, I had a lot of questions. I had no idea. I had no concept of death at this point in my life. The first person that died in my life was my best friend when I was 12, who got killed by a drunk driver. First experience with a family death was at 19 with my grandmother, grandfather on my father's side, who died 3 years
So,
apart.
so at this point, you had had no experience with death, so you didn't even have
No, not even
any.
not even a pet. I had not
Okay.
experienced anything.
Okay. So
Um,
that was pretty interesting, I bet, you know.
yeah, my guide had to telepathically explain to me what death was and
Okay.
really kind of go through that. He explained how the disease that I had caused my body to shut down. He didn't
Mhm.
go into too much detail because I was, even though I was an old soul, I was
He's
still
still talking to
in
a
that space.
7-year-old capacity.
Yeah, because I was still not like it takes a while to fully transition over to being on the other side to have access to universal knowledge, understand everything. So when you
Mhm.
first go over, you're still in the mindset of the
Yeah.
being you just were.
Okay.
So he had to explain a lot to me. So it took a while for me to really get acclimated to being on the other side. And then once that point, like that lasted probably, it felt like a couple of hours to me
Yeah.
because I asked a lot of questions.
Hmm.
I was very
Yeah.
I was very curious kid. I always wanted to know how things work, where things were, what things were, like how does this relate to that. It
Hmm.
was always a curiosity, and I wanted to know everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's still with me, even though some of
Yeah.
it is lessened over time. First NDE was really, I consider like if people to ask me to describe the difference between the two near death experiences. The
Yeah.
first one was very much a personal, like this is your
Hmm.
life kind of thing,
Yeah.
and this is what's coming for you. This is your purpose in life. What you set out to do. Here's the events that are going to happen to you. And was more of a universal one.
Okay. Okay.
So, a lot more
So
expansive.
so did you reach a point in the first one where they said, "Do you want to come back?" Is that
That
did
was towards
that
the
happen?
end. Well, they didn't
Okay.
ask me if I wanted to come back. They basically told me I needed to.
Okay. Like you
But
weren't done.
yeah,
Okay.
both times I had it explained to me that there's a lot of things I had come here to do,
Hmm.
and the second one had shown me the why of why I was going through everything that I was going through
Yeah.
here. And like if I hadn't had that knowledge, I probably wouldn't have wanted to come back. I still didn't want to
Hmm.
because the other side is so wonderful, amazing, beautiful, awesome, incredible, every superlative you can think of.
Yeah.
But um, in order to accomplish what I set out to do
Yeah.
in this lifetime, I had to come back here.
Yeah.
Like after I had my after this room, once I had asked my questions, I had the life review right away.
Mm.
And so there wasn't much to it because I was only 7 years old. You don't do much that age. In
Yeah.
fact, the one thing I do remember, when I was 5, I had a cousin who was a year older than me named Vern, and
Mm.
he had a Matchbox car, which was really popular in the 70s and 80s, and his was in the exact same model and color as the car his father drove. It was a Pontiac Trans Am. It was like yellow, with the flames coming down the sides and
Mhm.
everything. It
Yeah.
looked exactly like it.
Yeah.
And so for him, it was his gift from his father on his 5th birthday, which was a year before mine. 25th birthday.
Okay.
And so for him, it was a treasure. It was something he really, he took it with him everywhere he went.
Yeah.
And for me, I just saw, oh, that's a cool looking car. I like the colors. And I just took it home with me, not thinking
Mhm.
about it's his. It
Yeah.
doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
I was just curious, took it home. Well, what I saw in that life review was what happened after I left, which was him
Mhm.
panicking, Mommy, where's my car? I can't find my car. Not being able to sleep for 2 days and crying his eyes out, and his parents in a panic, like, I don't know what to do with him. I can't, make him stop crying.
Yeah.
And when I came back from that near-death experience, the first thing I wanted to do when I first recovered was to get that car and bring it back to him.
Yeah.
He never blamed me. He
Mhm.
never, his parents weren't angry at me. He wasn't angry at me. He was just so happy to have that car back.
That's
And the
awesome.
feeling I got from returning it to him
Mhm.
just made me feel like $1 million.
Well, that's awesome.
Even though I'd stolen it to begin with, I mean, I didn't do it intentionally. I didn't do it to be harmful or
No, but that's
vindictive or
a
anything like that. I was
full
just a curious
circle.
kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just a curious kid.
So, okay. So you come back and then did you know that you were going to have another near-death experience or was that
Not
not
yet.
part? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I didn't find out about the plan for the near-death experiences, why they were planned ahead of time, or that they were planned
yeah,
ahead of time
that's
until just this
probably
past year.
good, I would think, because you don't want
Yeah.
to know that. Like they didn't tell you like when you're gonna die or any of that, right? Like,
No, they didn't tell me when I was
okay,
gonna
good.
die. They didn't tell
That's
me,
good.
you know,
I don't think that's
well,
helpful.
Well, they like I, for instance, one of the conditions that I have is called CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a brain condition that can result from multiple severe brain injuries over time. It is
Mm-hmm.
a it's a progressive condition,
Mm-hmm.
and I also know it's going to be terminal eventually. So
Mm.
my life will be shortened. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
Um, I will say it's not as shortened as my neurologist originally thought it was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
because when he diagnosed it in 2017, and then he downgraded it to terminal in 2021, 4 years ago December. And when I called him up to kind of give him an update back in June, I want to say, of this past year,
Mm-hmm.
and he was rather shocked I was still alive.
Wow.
He said
Wow.
if I was being honest with you, I fully expected you to be either in full hospice care or under the ground by this point,
Wow.
because he
Wow.
gave me 3 to 5 years, and this at that point was almost 3.5 years. So
Interesting.
so he said, I don't know how much, but I said I definitely would revise that estimate from
Mm-hmm.
what I originally had, because he said you're obviously well ahead of that
Mm-hmm.
time span that I originally gave you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much time that means, or what that means as far as my timeline goes, but I know that my life will not be. I'm not going to live to be 90. But you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I'm actually fine with that for many reasons. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly have never really been one of those people that really wanted to grow old.
Yeah. Yeah.
But beyond that, just knowing what I know about the other side, I want to go back. Really, like, if I could go back tomorrow and I knew everything would be taken care of and everything was needed to accomplish was done, and I could go
Yeah.
back tomorrow, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I understand that. I actually do
So,
understand that. So, okay, so let's jump to when you were 14. Okay.
you're right.
So you had this incident with a bully. You end up getting a brain injury
Right.
and you
It was
immediately
the third of three skull fractures, because it fractured
okay.
the bottom of my skull as well as
Okay.
impacted my brain stem.
Yeah.
And so the brainstem controls your heart, lungs, all your basic functions. And so when it hit me, it basically shut me off like a light switch. I was dead before I
So
hit like
you
the soil
die on the
sack of
spot.
potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, like I
Okay.
was dead
Wow.
instantly.
Geez, that was probably traumatic for a lot of people.
Uh, yeah. Let's put it this way: the kid who hit me,
Mm-hmm.
he panicked and ran. They ended up finding him a few hours later. He was hiding out in the woods, basically.
Yeah.
But the other kids were screaming for help, and a bunch of the counselors came running. And luckily, most camps that I've seen, they usually try to keep at least a couple people on staff who know CPR. And
Yeah.
luckily, one of these counselors knew CPR. He'd been fully trained less than a year before. In fact, I learned CPR after this incident because I knew that he had helped save my life, and I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to do that
Yeah.
for somebody else if the situation presented itself. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was dead and outside my body instantly, and I knew right away this time what had happened. I knew I
Yeah.
was dead. I knew I
Yeah.
was having a near-death experience, and this time I was like, cool. I know it. I know it's.
Yeah.
I've been here. I've been
Yeah.
there, done that. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so at first I was watching him perform CPR on me. I saw the ambulance arrive. It took the ambulance about 3.5, almost 4 minutes to get there, and then they had to come
Wow.
up 3 flights of stairs to get to where I was.
Wow.
Put me
Yeah.
on a stretcher, and then carry me down 3 flights of stairs
They got
to
there pretty
so.
fast. That's good. That was
Well,
probably
yeah, the hospital was
important.
like right down the road,
Good.
so yeah, they were based out of the hospital, and so uh, but they partially revived me in the ambulance right before we got to the hospital. They
Mhm.
restored like a heart rhythm
Yeah.
and partially restored the breathing, and then they fully brought me back in the ER once I got there.
Wow.
But I was clinically dead from when I hit the floor until a minute before we arrived at the hospital. So I was dead 7.5 minutes total
Wow. There's
before
that
they
seven
started
again.
to bring me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, 7.5 minutes, that doesn't sound like a blink of the eye. No. No,
No, seven
it was
minutes is a
not.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right away, I felt like time had this whole different meaning. Everything around me felt when I think I started seeing more of the details of it the second time around because I didn't have to go through the what's going on, why is it who's
Of
that person in
course.
the bed? I didn't
Yeah,
have to go
you
through the
don't have to
questions
go through
phase.
all the stuff. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like I knew what was going on.
Okay.
So yeah, like I heard my guy's voice again. They brought me, through the ambulance up in little blackout on the other side. But at this time, I said I don't have any questions. I already know what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, and went straight to the life review. Not much had changed since the first time. Nothing, I hadn't really done anything bad since it, but even though that one thing with my cousin was the only thing I had really done that was even close to being bad. I was never really a bad kid.
Well, you
So
review good and bad though, right? Like you don't just
yeah,
like,
you review everything. I
okay.
mean, you get to see everything,
Yeah.
but it's not like they just focus on the bad stuff that you do if you do bad stuff. I mean, I had bad thoughts like everybody does. I mean, times where like, man, I wish that kid would leave me alone because I had experienced 7 years of bullying between the first and second one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wished a lot of harm on a lot of people between those
So
two.
did that affect you somehow then too? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I saw. I mean, it was like there was no judgment or anything from any
Yeah.
being, not before, not during, or after.
Yeah.
But it was more just to show me that this is not as maybe as great as it feels in the moment, in the heat of the moment. This is not who I want to be. In like how I realize that how I choose to react to something is always within my power.
Mm.
I can't always control what happens to me or who does what.
Yeah.
I can only control how I react to it, how I choose, what I choose to do with it.
And so
So,
did this teach you how to manage that better when you came back?
to a degree, I mean, um, it was just it gave me answers. Like I said, I got a lot of answers from that separate life review, and it gave me a whole different perspective on my place in things, what I
Mm.
was meant to do, how I saw other people, like the connection. I've always experienced the connection with other people much more strongly since I came back from that second near death experience than I ever did before that.
Okay.
Um, I experienced like colors are more vivid, tastes are stronger, smells are more pungent. It's like
Mhm.
I'm more. I describe it as having one foot on the other side and one foot on this side,
Yeah.
where I'm always partial. I'm never fully in one or the other,
Yeah.
and so I have like
Understand
a
that.
kind of a residual feeling from the other side that the stuff that
Yeah.
I experienced.
So my daughter my daughter explained to me last week actually um how I am. Like she was explaining it to someone else and then she was telling me what she said. And she said, I was explaining you, what I was saying about you is that my mom doesn't live in reality. You have to understand that. She's not here with us. When she is here with us, that's like by her grace that she gives us that. And she said, but she doesn't actually reside here the way that we do. And
Yeah,
and I never heard anyone explain how I live that way. I didn't even realize that she comprehended how I am so fully, But
yeah,
that is what the result of my near-death experience was, is that I don't really live here anymore. Like I live in both places,
yeah.
but I really
But
don't
you feel a more stronger connection to the other side
yeah,
than you do here.
exactly. I don't
Yeah,
participate much in this reality except for the parts I have to. And in that reality, it's almost like that's where my consciousness stays a lot of the time.
yeah.
And she's right. I
Where my
visit
thoughts
this.
are, where like I'm always remembering. So like because I when I came back from the second one, I requested to come back with the full memory, knowledge, and information that I had learned during my time on the other side and both near-death experiences. So I've had that bouncing around in my head for 40
Yeah,
years.
I've had I I've read and listened to quite a few near-death experiences throughout the years, not
Did
like
you?
a ton or anything. I'm just now starting to interview people about them because I'm fascinated with them, of course. Um,
Yeah,
but but I think a common theme is that we all remember the entire experience. Like at
yeah,
least that's the common theme I've seen so far in the
right.
ones I've seen.
The
It's
the
like,
memory because memories everything's more vivid.
yeah,
Like
and more
colors are
real.
sharper,
Yeah.
details are sharper, and so like I said, in my situation is even more extreme than a lot of people. Like I said, I think I told you this. I can't remember if we said it before or after you started recording. I think it might have
Yeah,
been before,
that's okay.
where I mentioned that below the age of 16, because of all the head injuries that I've sustained from bullying, and then I've had also three more
Mhm.
recently,
Mhm.
2017, 2024, and then this past year.
Mhm.
Um, the memory I have, like my life before the age of 16, with the exception of the extreme traumas that I experienced, like the back injury that I got, I remember exactly where it happened, who
Yeah.
did it,
Yeah.
uh, the more extreme head injuries that I had, except for those traumas and the two near-death experiences, my life below the age of 16 is a complete blank,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can't remember any of my life except those extreme things,
Mhm.
but my memories of my near death experiences are complete, and even the tiniest detail even now, 40 years later,
Mm-hmm.
is tells you how much different a near-death experience is versus your everyday experience in this realm.
Yeah.
It's so much like
Well,
if
I
people say like your daughter was describing how you don't live in reality. Well, it's because
mhm.
reality here is not
Isn't
real.
it's not
That
real.
is more
Yeah.
real on the other side than
So
anything here.
So that's the difference because I'm not trying to say I'm a lead or I'm different or any of those things.
Yeah,
It's that I have a very clear understanding now that this is not real and that is. And it's
yes.
not on purpose. It's not, it's just once you know
It's
that,
not
you
it's not
can't
saying that this
unknow
is
that.
bad or
Yeah, it's
it's
not
not telling
bad or
people like
good. It's
I'm
just,
better than you because I know
no,
something you don't
yeah,
know. It's not like that.
no,
It's
not
just
at all.
I experienced something different than you do because I had this experience.
It's
You
almost like
know?
this entire experience means something different now.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't have any interest in like politics or religion
I
or
have lost interest in that
I
completely.
I can't it's like I can't spend my time there. I can if I have to, like if I have some reason to. But it's like
I did for a
I
while with that
don't,
like back in the 2015, 2016 era. I did for a while when I was more
yeah,
active then, but ever since I became disabled in 2019,
yeah.
I I don't have the energy for that anymore, and I don't feel like that's like it's I know it's not where my path leads. It's not where I'm supposed to be.
That's
I
yeah.
don't live in that place. I
I just
live
kind of feel
I live
like
here, you know?
I don't have the bandwidth for anything I have no control.
Right.
And so the things that are within my control, those are the things I focus on, and the things that aren't. And it's
Yeah.
not like I'm trying to not be in reality. It's just that that reality doesn't have much to do with me. Even if it does affect me, it's like I can't actually control it. So it really doesn't have much to do with me, and I'm just more aware of that than most people, I think. That's all.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
only
more
difference.
than just not being in control of it. It's more like it's because I think of the best way to put it as far as now because I love using analogies to explain things.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but it's like it's like being in the Matrix and thinking that this life that you've been living the whole time is reality. And then all of a sudden you wake up, you find you're in this pod, you've been used as a battery this whole time, and there's this actual reality
I
out
will say
here.
I will say that that specific analogy scares me, but
Well, I just say,
I don't like the
I
pod idea, but
well, yeah, like, yeah, I'm just saying, like
I
the
know.
whole, it's like
Yeah.
you wake up
Yeah,
and
you wake.
realize that the
Yeah.
reality you thought was real is
Isn't.
not,
Yes.
and that the real is out here.
Yes.
And so that's how it is for people like us who have these
Yeah.
experiences. Like we experience the real reality on the other side, and when we come back here, we realize how much of a construct this is.
Yes.
That it's not real in the same way to us. It's not as
Mhm.
vivid. Um, it's not as powerful. It's not as sharp. Like it feels like everything's dulled down
Yes.
being here
Yes.
because what we're doing is everything is being filtered through our human body, our human
Hmm.
brain,
Yeah.
and we are not able to process a lot of the things that on the other side you can do because in on the other side you're in your energy based form, which is unlimited.
Yes.
That's why we can do things on the other side we can't do here.
So, okay, so you're 14, you go to the other side again,
Right.
and what happens there this time?
Well, like I said, I was immediately acclimated. I had the regular life review, and that's when I asked the question why. I had that separate life review that I described earlier. And I think more than probably any other single experience on the other side, that one had a more profound effect on me as far
Hmm.
as my life since then,
Hmm.
since I came back, because
Hmm.
the memories of it are still with me every single day. Every time I
Yeah.
close my eyes, every time if I need motivation to continue on my path that I set myself on when I was 14, that is my motivation
And
to
what are
not
and
fall
what
into that trap again.
Okay, and what are those memories? Are those memories like what you did there or what they
Yes.
told you there or
What I did in that previous lifetime that caused so much harm,
okay,
like
so
Path of
that
Atonement.
life review is what stayed with you. Okay.
Right. Yeah, the life
Okay.
view, what I did to those people, like the harm that I caused,
Yes.
the reason why I'm living a path of atonement in this
Yes.
lifetime is
Okay.
because of that lifetime. So the
That
connection
makes
of those
sense.
two. Correct.
When you're on the other side, what else happens? So you go through the life review. What else do you do in this 10 years?
Once you have your life review, you kind of go off on your own. You can explore, you can rest, you do whatever you want to do,
Okay.
basically. Some people visit with their family members if they have family on the other side or friends on the other side. Um, you can just do whatever you want. And both times I ended up in this same place, which I found out through that separate life review was where I lived in my first Earth-based lifetime.
So
And so it was a
kind of like
recreation.
so kind of like What Dreams May Come. Have you seen that movie?
Exactly like
Okay.
that.
So this is the heaven
Exactly
that you
like it.
created or the reality that you created, whatever you
Yeah,
want to
it's
call
I
that.
call it my
Okay.
little pocket universe.
Okay. So
It's
this
it's
is
my
this
my
is
little personal universe.
your home on the other side. And
Correct.
so when you're there both times you end up going back and visiting your home on the other side.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And I created it instinctually. I didn't. I mean, I didn't really think about. I want to make this. It was just instinctive.
Okay.
And so I just ended up in this place and didn't know how it came to be. I didn't even know
Just
where
was.
this place was.
Okay.
It wasn't until I came back from my first one, my grandmother put together this is the Matterhorn, and then we
Hmm.
figured out that's in Switzerland.
Hmm.
But I didn't know how I knew that
Yeah.
because I had never seen pictures of Switzerland. I didn't even know there was a Switzerland at
Hmm.
7.
Hmm.
I had never known geography at that point in my life. I didn't know anything outside of my hometown in New York City. It's the only two places I'd ever been. So I had no idea of no concept of
Yeah.
the world. You can make anything you want any way you want, and it's completely within your control. And it's the most amazing, like that potential energy to be able to manipulate that however you want and
Creation
create whatever you
energy
want.
itself. Yeah.
It's like being it. You feel like a god when you're doing it. You
Hmm.
really do. You feel like a god. And in a way
Awesome.
and really in a way you
In a way
are.
you are.
You're
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah.
You're part of God slash source. So
Yeah.
in that way, it's like, but that same excitement and that same childlike enthusiasm that you feel and you experience, this being is just also experiencing through you, even on the other side. Or
Hmm.
whether you're on the side or the other side doesn't matter. You
Hmm.
know, you're part of that being, and so that conglomeration, that version of me that's always on the other side and always has is like the overall conglomeration of every experience I've ever had. Um, is like I feel like I'm trying to think of it like I'm the flash drive, and I get all these little files downloaded into me, and then I go back and download the files into the computer on the
Into the
other
main
side,
source. Yeah. I
into the
totally get
mainframe.
that. Yeah. Like people call that the higher self. They call it the oversoul. They call it
Yeah,
they call it all
you
different
you can
things,
call it
but
whatever
it's
you
the
want.
same
It's the
thing.
same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And same
Same
with
thing.
God. You can call
Okay.
God or Yahweh or Source
Of
or
course.
Petunia if you want. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
call it.
God doesn't care what you call it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one thing that people need to understand about
Hmm.
this being
Hmm.
is it exists beyond any label that you can possibly put on it. It is
Hmm.
not what you think. Like all these religious versions of God, where
Hmm.
God is angry and vengeful, needs your
Yeah.
money, and wants to test you all the time, and wants to smite everybody. That is not even close to what this
That's
being is. This
human.
being is absolute, unconditional love personified.
Hmm.
And that energy that this being creates manifested in everything in the universe. Everything
Hmm.
exists is a piece of that love.
Mm-hmm.
Because love is the most creative energy in the universe. And if you think about it, even in our human form, our limited form, love between two people creates another life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a baby,
Mm-hmm.
a smaller version of ourselves. That that's what love can do, even in our limited form. So imagine what a completely unlimited being can do with it.
Yeah.
You've created a universe.
I believe that too. I believe that love is the only actual thing that's real.
Yeah,
But that's what
because
I
it's what
view.
everything is made out of.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say is the reason that so many of us have had these experiences and feel like it's important to share them? Like what would you say about that?
Well, for one, because on average, only 5 to 10% of the being of humanity has actually had an experience like this, near death or otherwise.
Yeah.
And so the reason is every being doesn't need to have one, first of all, even those who can have one and don't all need to have one. Maybe they're more aware of their purpose and their path. I wasn't. You probably weren't.
I
So
was
we
not.
had this
Yeah.
experience to give us something, a way to go. Like here's a flashlight. Here's where you need to go. Follow that.
Well, I had tried to commit suicide twice in the
I did too.
month or two leading up to my near-death experience. And then my near-death experience had nothing to do with my own,
Yeah,
like
mine
needs
I
being
actually
met.
tried after.
So,
I tried once when I was almost 17, and then again when I was 22.
yeah.
And it was because for a long time I was not believed by anybody except my grandmother. But like nobody in my family believed me. My friends didn't believe me. People at church, people at school, teachers, didn't matter who. Nobody would believe me.
Yeah.
And I felt so alone, so isolated, so cut off from everyone and everything because I felt like I've had this incredible experience. I don't know what to do with it, and no one is helping me figure it out.
See, I didn't tell anybody for a long
I
time.
tried,
I
but I
was
stopped
so
doing it for a
scared
long
to
time.
tell people, and because I knew people weren't going to believe me, but I had, like I had had a whole bunch of things happen leading up to it that it made it unsafe to tell people. And so I didn't start, I told my family members, like my direct family, like
Yeah,
my
that's what I
brother, my
started with.
sister, my dad, my mom, but and they believed me. But then because I came from a spiritual family, thank God, a spiritually
Yeah,
accepting family. But then I didn't tell anybody until I met this man who we were talking and he said, I OD'd once and I had an angel come for me. And I was like, oh wow, what happened? And I still
yeah.
didn't
See, you
tell
knew
anybody.
somebody who might understand your experience because they had something
Yeah.
similar.
And I didn't tell anybody still, and I didn't tell him that I had this experience. He was just telling me his experience, and his experience was so similar to mine that I went, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah, yeah,
It
you felt
it,
like,
it
oh, I'm
like
not
gave
alone
me
anymore.
yeah, it gave me this like permission to go, this was real, even though I always knew it was real.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
this was real and it's valid now somehow. And
Yeah,
that's when I
because like
finally felt like I could
because
tell
we're a species that very much is like, the more people see, hear, or experience something, the more real it becomes to
yes.
us.
And
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 so
it
we
was
need that
incredible
social
how much
position.
his story was so similar to mine, like the way he felt and what he experienced and all of that. Just like you talking about the song, it's like have not heard people talk about that. That to me is such validation. It's like that
Yeah.
is how I have described it for so long that it was like a
Well,
strong
not every species sounds like
real.
that. So that's
Yeah.
it's and like people have asked like can you like when you're there, can you speak their language? And I say no, because if you think about this, most species are not look they don't look and sound or have the same physical characteristics that we have.
Mm,
Like his
yeah.
species has has a dual set of vocal cords,
Mm,
and they have physical features within their mouth and throat that allow them to
mm,
make sounds that humans can't duplicate. No
mm.
matter, because we just don't have the physical features that allow us to do that. Same way we can't imitate certain animals on Earth.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you hear different sounds coming out of animals all the time that we can't imitate because we just don't have the physical ability.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that place that I go to, that
Hmm.
Switzerland,
Your happy place. I'm
yeah,
just
my
gonna
happy
call
place.
that your happy place from now on.
Yeah, it's the perfect name for it. It really
Yeah.
is, because I'm so I feel so at home there. Like I
Mm-hmm.
never want to leave when I go there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first get there, I'm always in the same place. It's just a whole big field that, like, the cabin that I lived in with my wife and my kids in that lifetime, is on the side of a really steep mountain. So it's at an angle, and so it's on stilts on the bottom side, and flat on the top side. So it gives it mostly flat, when you're inside. So it's not like that, at an
Mm-hmm.
angle.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that was this huge field of wildflowers, and when I say they were literally every color of the crayon box,
Mm-hmm.
there, I mean, red, blue, purple, yellow, orange, white, you name it, they were represented there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found on the other side is this sound that I have, until just very recently, I had never been able to find since
Mm-hmm.
I came back. It was, I realized that colors on the other side have a tonal frequency to them. Each one has its own frequency. And so when you have all these colors together, it creates this heavenly chorus sound that is like, I'll give you an example. The way I found the sound, somebody had posted a clip in the NDE group that I'm in, of this woman named Meilon. It's MEI-LAN. She has a Facebook channel and a YouTube channel, and she does this music thing where she does like singing bowls, where a little tool around the singing bowl to create a sound.
Mm-hmm.
She has background music. She also uses her voice to create different tonal sounds, but
Yeah.
not like words, but
Mm-hmm.
sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then uses an echo effect on all of it together to give it more an ethereal quality. But the
Mm-hmm.
combination of those four things is exactly
Mm.
like what I heard on that field.
Wow.
And like the first time I heard it, my jaw hit the floor. I
Wow.
was like, I've been searching for this sound for 40 years and never heard it. I've heard
Amazing.
pieces of
Yeah.
it, like this
Mhm.
part here, this part over here, never all of them together at once.
So what
And I could
happened
never
when you
figure it
heard
out.
it again? How did
Oh,
you feel?
well, for me, it reminds me of being on the other side. It's like, I can listen to it all day long and never get tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll send you a clip later on. You can
I was
post it
gonna
if you
say
want.
let's include a clip in the show notes because
Yeah,
like let's include the link to where it is so that other people can hear it and see if they resonate with it as well. Because,
yeah.
you know, maybe they
I'll
do.
bet anybody who's seen like a field of wildflower, like anything with multiple colors like that, like, first of all, colors are more vivid there than they
Mm-hmm.
are here. But
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, they have that sound to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, colors have sounds. Things, when you hear or feel things, it penetrates right through you. and fills you from the inside out. Like I remember I could see the clouds overhead and they were all different colors and it was just the most beautiful place and it was more colorful and more vivid than any earthly any earthly environment could possibly be. And when it finally, I let the sun set behind the Matterhorn in my happy place, um, and it became night. You know how stars normally look to us, where they look like little pinpricks of light at a great distance. And
Mm-hmm.
you look at, say, the Orion constellation. It looks like all the stars are the same distance, but they're actually not. They're not even close.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the stars in this place look like glowing balls of light.
Mm-hmm.
They were three-dimensional, and I could actually reach out and touch them, bring them down to me. It felt like I felt like a party goer at a Jimmy Buffett concert, where they always have these big inflatable balls that they toss around the audience and let you play around with them before the
Yeah.
show starts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that, but imagine these big glowing balls that were warm to the touch, but they weren't hot. It didn't make they weren't uncomfortable in any way. And I felt like if you can imagine the feeling of a kid on Christmas morning, multiply it by infinity.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yes, it's so cool. I want to do this forever. It was
Yeah.
so I just wanted to play and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was throwing these little balls of light all over the place, and they were bouncing off the valley below me, and off the mountains on the other side, and just bouncing
That's
everywhere.
cool.
And I remember the thought crossing my mind: I wish I was out there where they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish I could be out there. And the next thing I know, I was. You know why I got this background on
Mm-hmm.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Because it's almost exactly like what I saw
Wow.
when I was outside of Earth
Mm-hmm.
very first time. Even the glow you see in this photo behind me
Mm-hmm.
is it was this alive, glowing bluish green light, and the atmosphere was so thin that it looked like the most fragile thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like a breeze could blow it away.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, like later on, I saw like some of the Apollo astronauts describing what it was like to see Earth from the outside for the first time. It was like there's no lines, there's no politics, there's no religion, there's no countries. It's all one big place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how it felt to me, where it was like this all one world that we all share. And I felt this not only a connection to it, but felt this responsibility for it. Like I need to take care of this
Mm-hmm.
because this is my only home. This is all I know. And it's where we all share it. And I need to take care of this place because it's so fragile.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has shaped my view of astronomy and space and our place in it. Just seeing it gave me this new perspective where things were more alive to me all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent time in the first near-death experience actually exploring our whole solar system because I still felt like I needed to stay close to home.
What does that change about the value of this life? You know?
Well, I mean, it changed not only how I value this particular every lifetime really, but um, it it gave me this magic
Mm-hmm.
that has always been inside of me that I feel like I have to share it with people. Like that's why I do these interviews, why I've been talking about it. I spent 22 years from 1994 to 2016 traveling all over the US Eastern Seaboard from Pennsylvania to Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
talking to different groups or participating in panel discussions about the afterlife and death and whatever because I felt this compulsion to talk about what I'd seen, what I'd experienced, what I felt. how it
Mhm.
changed my life.
Mhm.
And I still feel that, even though like after 2016, I actually took 9 years off where I didn't have the financial or physical ability to really travel around anymore. And
Mhm.
so I felt disconnected for a while.
Yeah.
But then I joined this near-death experience group that I'm in,
Mhm.
and I like a year ago, this past month, January of last year, and ever since I did that, everything has changed. Where
Mhm.
everything's ramped up. My connection to my guide is almost a daily thing, where I barely ever heard from him for years.
Mhm.
Um, Even the connection to my grandmother, the being that was inside of her. Um, Helping other people with the stuff that happened in my near death experience, wanting to help more, to help people understand death so they don't fear it anymore. That's the
Mhm.
biggest one for me, like because I remember how it felt to fear death, to want to avoid it,
I do too.
even at a younger
Yeah.
age. Even though I didn't have experience, didn't understand it at 7, I understood it by
Mhm.
the time I had my second near death experience. If you've never been around people when they're at that moment of crossing over, that final transition,
Mhm.
let me tell you, it's one of the most beautiful things you will ever see
I agree.
because
Yeah.
they get this. First of all, a lot of them have this have these moments of clarity leading up to that,
Mhm.
where they all of a sudden they go from being almost in a coma to being lively and clear-headed. You know, people who have Alzheimer's all of a sudden
Mhm.
are completely in their mind and understand things. And it doesn't last, but it's like this last little push right before the end. But right at that last moment, I've seen people that they made it clear you saw a smile on their face, and you could tell they could see they were talking to people that I couldn't see,
Mhm. Yeah.
that were obviously family members, people coming to meet them,
Mhm.
and the way that they would go from this almost panicked, trying to breathe, to
Yeah.
so calm
Mhm.
and so beatific and this beautiful smile on their face. It just it makes me remember what it was like to be on the other side for me, and knowing that they're going there, like I'm jealous as hell of every single
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So, but to see that, for me, that's an honor to see someone go through a transition because I know where they're going. I know they don't need to fear death anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't have any fear of death at all. I have that same excitement of when it's my time, I want to go. But I don't want to go anytime soon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
mean, like
that feeling that I need to go or
I don't
anything.
really like I don't want my life to end anytime soon, but
Hmm.
whenever it does happen, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know, it's like, I'm not chasing it, but at the same time I'm not avoiding it either.
If there was a message that you came back with, if there was, a few things that like this is the reason I came back and this is the reason I share my story, what are those? What is that reason?
It's to let people know that this life that so many people think is all there is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even close to being it. Our life goes on forever.
Okay, so when I look at your numbers, okay, what really stands out to me in your chart is that you are someone who is, so like I told you, the sevens really stand out. The sevens are all about wisdom and intelligence and a lot of the things that you talked about, like the higher understanding kind of knowledge, where you're connected to everything and everything's connected to you. You're someone who has the ability to pull in past life knowledge to use in this one. I think you take that to a whole other level, like an extreme level.
That's putting it
Um,
mildly, yeah.
yeah. Um, it also means that you are someone who is a master manipulator of reality. So you're someone who bends reality at the edges. It's like this reality doesn't really work the way that you understand reality to work, and you come into this lifetime kind of knowing that on some level, not consciously usually, but like you look at reality and you go, yeah, this isn't going to work for me, and you kind of just like bend it and change it and move it, and you do that throughout your life
Well, just
to make
more
it the
like
way it needs
I
to be.
try to um, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, where in order for me to understand it in the same way that I understood it on the other side, I've got to put
Mhm.
aside my old view of things
Yeah.
and adapt a new way of thinking. And
Mm-hmm.
so by doing that, I kind of manipulate the reality that I'm living in because I know
Mm-hmm.
it's not real in the sense that the other side is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to set aside what I spent so much time attached to on this side in
Mm-hmm.
order to understand reality the way it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense because that is really, that is how you exist. That's what it looks like. You also are extremely charismatic and you draw people to you. You have a lot of that spark that kind of like makes people inquisitive, they want to know more and they want to kind of understand how you think a little bit. um, I will say you think on a different level than most people, very obviously. Um, you,
And I think the NDEs have changed that about me because I didn't used to be that way when I was a kid. I mean, I was always a curious being,
hmm
was never at explaining things to other people until I came back from my second one.
yeah,
And at that point, when I came back with that knowledge and information that I requested to come back with, um, it helped to change how I approached other people, and I was able to use knowledge and information in a way I never had before.
hmm
I like the way I use
hmm
analogies now is like it's
hmm
like a central tact in the way I explain things is trying to
hmm
put things in a way that people can conceive of in their limited reality,
hmm
if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, having a near-death experience at 7 and 14, you weren't really who you were going to be yet anyway. So those are all formative years, up
Yeah.
until even your 20s and 30s,
Yes, exactly.
they're formative years. So, yeah.
And
So,
that was deliberately done
yeah.
that way for that reason was to put me on my path early, but also to
Mhm.
put things into my mind while it was still malleable. where
Exactly.
where I would
Yeah.
start where I had that base level knowledge and information already there, so that when
Mhm.
my brain solidified and everything started to come into focus, I had that information at my fingertips already.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it also helps you to, live this experience because you do have a lot of sensitivity. Like you get your feelings hurt easy and
I used
you
to
do take
more
things
so more
personal
more so
and
before than I do now, but yes,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
very
all the things.
emotionally oriented.
Yes, you're a very emotional being. You're an empath. You're someone who you have a lot of emotional energy in your
I'm
chart.
an empath on steroids.
Yeah.
Like I feel people's pain and suffering as a physical sensation.
I can see that because you have a very high concentration of that in your chart. Yeah, so it makes sense. You are also someone who is here to make the world a better place for you having been here. That's going to be one of your driving forces. And you do work with creation energy. So you're somebody who I think when I look at your chart, everything makes sense to me because you are working within all of the energy that you came here with. Like you are using all of your knowledge and all of the things that you have experienced. You're using all of that to kind of like share these big messages, like share these
Yeah.
big things.
It's like it's all everything I think of everything that I came back with as a toolkit that I can use to build
Yeah.
this reality for other people.
Yes.
It's how I think of
Yes.
it.
That makes sense for your numbers as well. And you are, your main goal in this lifetime is to reach a Zen-like state, to reach an understanding that I am you and you are me and we are all one, that whole one concept.
Yeah.
Um, that is your main goal in this lifetime. And it's like all of this had to happen this way for you to actually reach that state. You're very, very concentrated on an emotional life this time. Like
Yes.
it's like I'm going to come here with a very high wisdom and I'm going to come here very emotional. And those things are going to work together to help me get to that Zen-like state where I
Because
understand
I've learned
the oneness.
that one thing I've learned in this lifetime is that emotions help connect us. And so I can reach people on an emotional level that I can't always reach them on like on a logical level or a factual level, things
Hmm.
that don't translate in their mind necessarily. If you create an emotional connection to something,
Hmm.
it's something that sticks with people more than just saying these are the facts, man. You know?
Yeah, and you have a conflict there in your chart where you are a very high intellect and then you are also a very high emotion. So you have both of those, they conflict with each other. So they work together as well in other ways, but like they conflict with each other in the way that you are constantly having the battle of head or heart. And I will tell you, you will always win when you drop into your heart. You will never
Yeah.
win when you stay in your intellect. Your intellect will lose people.
The
Your
problem
heart
is
will
having all
gain.
that information in my head and having it constantly bouncing around, and I know that a lot of this information is important for people to know. The problem, the what I need to, what the I think the lesson I need to learn more than anything is how to create an emotional connection to the information that I can then pass to other people to connect on that level versus trying to connect on a purely intellectual level.
Yeah, and that's going to be the entire struggle of your life, I think. Like
Yeah.
that
It's
one of
been
the
my
main
struggle for
struggles.
40 years, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the way that you solve it every single time is you get out of your head and into your heart.
Yeah.
And how you do that is you always just say, how do I feel? Like how would this person feel? How would I feel? Like when you're trying to get someone to understand something that you understand, like a concept, okay? You don't get through to them by showing them all of the facts and the whole book about it. You get through to them by telling them a story about it and showing
Well,
them
not just
the
telling a story, but
evolution of the
like the
story.
things that I've actually experienced, like for instance, that separate life review is a big
Mhm.
one that is connected to a lot of people, and it's because every time I retell it, I feel the emotions of it again, and so
Yeah.
I've learned to let myself delve into those emotions every single time
Mhm.
to make that connection because, like I said, I've learned slowly, granted, and probably still got a little ways to go. That intellectually is not the way to go. The factual is not the way to go. Um, but having this information and then having an emotional connection from the other side still in me, I'm
Mm.
able to create that emotional connection now. And so I've learned to focus in that direction more and more as time goes by. So that whole, getting
Yeah.
into your heart versus your head
Yeah.
thing is
Sorry.
becoming more of a reality for
Come
me.
here. Come here.
Aw.
Sorry. My cats and dog, they
But
like
my
to
cat
be
was the
part of
same
things.
way, so
So,
trust me, I'm a very big
yeah.
cat person.
They like to be part of things and they don't care if they sit right in front of me. So, come here, baby. And he won't move. So, anyway. Yeah. So, this is the thing. Um, when you told the story of that past life, you didn't just go there emotionally. Like, that's not all that you did that made that so impactful. What you did that made that
Yeah.
impactful was you got out of the facts and into the story. You lived it through telling it, like you
Yes.
lived it and you let me live it with you. And therefore, you delivered the message in a way that was emotional, but like didn't make anybody think. You know what I mean? Like it makes
It's
you,
like
it's
it's a
like a
way to
learned
connect,
experience.
not just for me, but to create a connection for someone else to connect to it.
Yes. And that's why storytelling changes the message. You know what I mean? Like storytelling, that it's the only difference, okay? Because you can spend all day telling facts. Like you can be like, okay, this works because of this and that works because of that. And you can literally do that. But you lose people when you do that because their brain just can't handle that much work. And I'm only talking about this to you because that is what you struggle with. Like that is your one of your big struggles in your chart is to get out of your head and into your heart, and then you've got a lot of self-doubt around a lot of things. So like you always are trying to figure out the way to do things like that. And then you have a lot of introspection and you kind of get in your way, like you get in your own way because you're always fact
Mhm.
checking yourself and you're always going, am I doing it right? Am I expressing it right? Am I giving the message right?
I have to learn to trust
So,
myself in
yes.
a way because and I think like I said I'm getting better at it as time goes by. I mean if you knew me 10 years ago, you
Hmm.
wouldn't even recognize that person compared to where I'm at now because I was always just the facts, man, just the
Well,
numbers, just the the
and that's
stats.
And that's the whole reason you have all of this in your chart is because this is what you're learning. Also, you've got some leadership in your chart, like you've got some strong leadership. You've also got connection to the other side and the higher power. You've got connection to your spirit guides. You are an open channel. Like all of those things are true right in your chart.
Yeah, and like I said, this past year has really ramped all of that up. Where
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think almost in a way the 9 years that I took off when I stopped traveling around because I had to
Mm-hmm.
financially and physically, and then I just kind of lost connection to that part of myself for like 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a way, I needed that to prepare me for what's happened this past year because, like I said, it's gone from 0 to 60 quick.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the people that bullied you?
People that,
The people that bullied you, like
oh,
how do you feel about them today?
for a long time I was angry about it, but like I said, part of that was not knowing the why it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily just the individual bullying incidents, but the overall experience of it. And I think coming to terms with, understanding that there, like a lot of these people were, like, I'll give you an example. One of my worst bullies, his father and his mother had divorced when he was young. His father was abusive towards him. So he continued that cycle, same way my mother did. And so going through understanding what my mother went through and how she continued that cycle helped me to understand why he did it.
Mhm.
And so, and one thing I realized early on, and part of it was because of the NDEs, is the fact that holding on to anger and resentment doesn't hurt anyone else. It only hurts you.
Mhm.
And so I had to forgive these people, not because of them, but because of me. I
Mhm.
needed to let go of that anger and the hatred and the resentment and all the negative emotions so that I can move on and do what I'm here to do.
So when you think about these people, like say this boy that, had his parents divorce and he was bullied and all that himself, like all that. When you think of him, what do you think about? Like what are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
I feel kind of a great swell of pity for a lot of them. You know, that they felt like they needed to go to do that kind of stuff to other people to either get stuff out of their system or deal with their own traumas or whatever the case might be, or they were just mean-spirited, whatever the reason was, it doesn't matter. The fact that they felt the need to hurt other people, it makes me feel a swell of pity for them because I know what it's like to live in resentment and live in hatred and live in anger all the time and what it did to me because it almost destroyed me.
Mm-hmm.
More. I mean, I tried to commit suicide twice
Mm-hmm.
because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know from experience what it can do to a person, and I would, like I don't hate anyone anymore, and I can't bring myself to because of the connection that I feel to everyone now. Like I don't see them as separate from me anymore. They're 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 part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so to hate or resent them or push them away is just saying, well, that part of my experience didn't matter, and but all of that, like I tell people, if you like who you are now, whatever age you're at, if you like the kind of person that you are now, be thankful for everything, good, bad, or indifferent, that you went through because all of that together created that person that you like now. I like who I am. I like the way I think about people, the way I think about the world, the way I think about near-death experiences, all the stuff that I do. And I wouldn't be this person if I hadn't gone through every experience that I went through as a kid
Yeah.
and everything in between.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel any negative emotions towards them at all. I feel at worst pity just because I know that they could have a better life if they chose a different path. And I wish, I wish for them that they could find that. Maybe they could find peace at some point in their life and maybe move past that stage. I hope
Mm-hmm.
that they're not always like that
Yeah.
because, I don't want anyone to have to suffer, no
Mm-hmm.
matter who they are, no matter what they may have done to me or to someone else. I don't want anyone to suffer.
Yeah.
So if they can find peace somewhere along the line and maybe have a better life down the line, great. And I would cheer them on as much as I would my best friend.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
I
beautiful.
like I said, I don't feel anything
Yeah.
bad towards any of them anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, that's good. I think that shows how much you've evolved, and how
Yeah.
you've grown and understand and all of that. Yeah, I think that's awesome. If you had a magic wand and you could go back in time, is there anything that you would change about your life?
No, not one thing. Because I said everything that I've been through, good, bad, or indifferent, has combined to create the person I am now. So if I like the person I am now, and if I like the path I'm on right now, then I have to be thankful for everything that led to this point,
Mm-hmm.
all of it. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't change a single thing.
I love that. That's good. Well, this was great. Thank you so much again. I really enjoyed this conversation. This is a good
So
one.
have I.
So, yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that I met you. You are a true, really, really big feeling person. Like you just have you're all heart, which also is all over your chart. All right. Well, thank you, Andrew. I
Thank
I
you.
really I really appreciate you. So, thank
Me
you so much.
too.
This has been awesome. And I will talk to you again soon.
Yeah. We'll talk again soon, but yeah, thank you so much for having me
Yeah,
on your show.
of course. Bye.
Bye bye.
Before we wrap this one up, I want to share something with you. This conversation with Andrew was actually over 4 hours long, and what you heard here was just a condensed version of it. There's a whole extra segment that didn't even make it into these episodes where he goes even deeper into what he learned on the other side, especially around the future of humanity and where all of this is going. It's one of the most in-depth parts of the entire conversation. If you're a subscriber, you can access that bonus inside your member portal. And if you're not yet, then this is your invitation. When you join our live audience experience, you don't just get access to bonus conversations like this. You also get to sit in on live recordings, interact with our guests, and be part of these amazing conversations as they're happening. So if you've been feeling pulled to go deeper, we would love to have you come join us. All the links you need are always in the show notes. See you soon.